What's up, guys? Welcome back to Rosie Wrestling. My name is Saif.
And I'm Massa.
And here today we're going to be previewing the upcoming Money in the Bank pay-per-view. So it's the second dual-branded pay-per-view since, this whole thing started again.
Right.
And it's going to be 4 hours long, so I think that's something that they're going to adopt from now on. And just right off the bat, before we even get to the show, the U.S. title is not on the card. Jeff Hardy's barely been seen on TV.
Yeah, I think he's been doing a lot of dark matches lately.
Yeah, and then the Raw tag titles are not on the card as well. They might add that last second, but I don't see it, to be honest with you.
And I think now, for now on, I don't think the Cruiserweights are actually going to get any pay-per-view time, which I think is really...
Except for the Big Four.
Except for the Big Four, which I'm not a huge fan of. I think that they deserve at least just one slot.
But that's what happens when you're going to do dual-branded pay-per-views. There's not much time to fit everything in. And on top of that, we're going to start off, obviously, with the kickoff show, which has the SmackDown tag titles on the line. So the fact that this is on the kickoff show, this now means that for the second pay-per-view in a row, there is no tag title match on the main card.
Right.
So it's so weird how we went from a great tag division last year to now, after this Superstar shakeup, it's in a transitional phase.
Right.
Hopefully, the tag, division will be able to bounce back because there's some very promising tag teams. But as for this match, we have the Bludgeon Brothers going against the Good Brothers in Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. There hasn't been really much built to this match. The Good Brothers had to be the Usos to get into this match.
Right.
But do you really see this going any other way than the Bludgeon Brothers retaining?
Not really. I really do like the Good Brothers. I'm glad that they're at least getting a push, but I really don't see them picking up a victory. The Bludgeon Brothers have been just unstoppable. Now moving on to our next match, we have Sami Zayn versus Bobby Lashley. Now, this feud has been a very interesting one. A candidate for worst feud of the year so far,
Absolutely.
definitely. I feel like both of these guys deserve better. I don't know what is going on. They're both good competitors. I don't understand just the booking decisions. The whole Bobby Sisters thing, that whole thing last week with the obstacle course. This is some Vince Russo type stuff.
Yeah, I'm not really enjoying this at all. I think Bobby's gonna pick up the victory, but after this, I don't want to see this feud continuing.
Right.
I really think that Bobby Lashley, they already messed him up for me. I honestly think it might almost be too late because he was so good in Impact. He really bounced back from a pretty mediocre WWE run. But here, he's having trouble connecting to the fans, and really no fault of his own. The booking has just been awful. Sami Zayn is doing the best he can with this, but there's only so much you can do. So I see Bobby winning this match, but this feud just needs to end.
Yeah. Next, we have the IC title match, Seth Rollins versus Elias. I'm actually kind of excited for this match. I really do like Elias. He's been really growing on me, and I also really do like Seth Rollins and what he's been doing for the IC championship. But I actually think that Rollins is going to retain. I think he might hold the IC title for a little bit longer, like the Miz did. Something that's very well needed for the U.S. championship.
So I'm really excited for this match, and I do expect Seth Rollins to retain, but I do expect this to be one of the matches of the night.
So next we have the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match with Ember Moon, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Becky Lynch, and Naomi and Sasha Banks, and Lana. But this one was probably the hardest to predict who's gonna win. We both actually have different answers for this one. I personally think that Becky Lynch might capture this one because the past few weeks they have been building her up. We did debate about this last week. I think the Money in the Bank will actually be really good for her because she hasn't really been featured very heavily, but I think they're going to push her in the next few weeks, so I think that it might end up with her.
Yeah, so she did get that big victory against Charlotte a few weeks ago. That was a huge victory for her. So they could go in that direction. I personally also see it going maybe in the Naomi direction. She did win the Battle Royal at WrestleMania, so they do care about her in some sense. And the third direction I see them going to is Natalya, who actually is my prediction for the match. They're doing this whole Natalya Ronda Rousey thing. I feel like they're going to build to that maybe at SummerSlam or later on. So I feel like Natalya could be the perfect candidate to hold the Money in the Bank and possibly even cash in on Ronda Rousey. So, there's a story there you can build off of. I don't see Charlotte winning or Alexa. They just came off of lengthy title runs. I don't see Ember winning. She's just too new to the roster. Lana, I mean, we all know about Lana. I don't think she's going to win.
That would be devastating.
And Sasha Banks, you could go that direction, but I feel like she's having this whole feud with Bayley. And I feel like the Money in the Bank could get, in between that. So I think Natalya is going to win it, but you could argue for Becky and for Naomi.
So next we have Daniel Bryan versus Big Cass, Part 2. This feud has been very, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of it kind of soured on me after Big Cass lost. I feel like it kind of took away from the momentum.
I don't think it soured on me because he lost. Because at the end of the day, I feel like Daniel Bryan, he's not someone you should just get an easy win on. Because he is one of the best competitors in the company.
Mm-hmm.
But the manner that he lost in, it was a really bad match, a really short match. It was almost like a Daniel Bryan squash match. And then ever since then, he's been talking up this game, but he lost so easily and he tapped out to Daniel Bryan. So it just really doesn't make sense to me. He doesn't look like a credible threat. I don't think they went in the right direction in terms of the story. And I don't really expect anything out of this match. And I actually expect Big Cass to actually get the victory here. Because Daniel Bryan does work the best as a sympathetic babyface. So, here he could get some sympathy out of this loss. Even if it's not 100% clean. But I do think Big Cass is going to win, but I'm really not excited for this match in any way.
But next we have for the SmackDown Women's Championship, Carmella versus Asuka. And you had a pretty interesting prediction for this one.
Yeah, so I personally think that Asuka will win the match, but she won't win the title. I don't think they're going to take the belt off of Carmella quite yet. I mean, she only just won it about 2 months ago. So I feel like there's maybe some more time that she has with the belt. But I do feel that, you could build up a story here with Asuka because at the end of the day, I feel like she needs to get a big win soon. Mm-hmm. And I feel like, first of all, something that should not be an option at all is Carmella wins clean.
Right.
That should definitely not happen. Carmella's already the coward heel in this. And Asuka's a dominating babyface who's lost one singles match in her time in the main roster. But
and her time in the WWE in general.
Yeah, and then just looking at it, Asuka did submit Carmella on SmackDown, so are they trying to throw us off? Are they trying to show us that, hey, Carmella is going to end up retaining her title? I feel like the Iconics might have something to do with this. So, they might try to build up this story for Asuka that she got screwed out of it, and then she'll end up winning it either at the next pay-per-view or at SummerSlam. But personally, I don't think that Asuka's going to walk out with the title.
I actually think that she will walk out with the championship. Carmella hasn't been doing that well as champion, and I feel like having Asuka as champion shows, okay, even though we broke her streak, we'll give her this instead. And I think that she'll be a great women's champion for now, especially with just having a lot more heels on the roster. I feel like, especially with the Iconics now on the roster or on SmackDown, they have a little bit more heel power, so having a babyface champion might actually work with their benefit. But next we have Roman Reigns versus Jinder Mahal, which we thought we were going to get on Raw, but turns out it was against Samir Singh and Sunil Singh. And we actually thought that the Great Khali was going to come out, so that was Jinder has my respect for that. But who do you think is going to pick up this victory?
I think it's going to be Roman. I think it's going to be pretty simple. They could swerve us because no one's really interested in this feud at all, so they might give us Jinder being the victor here. But this is one of 3 grudge matches on this card, one being Bobby Lashley, Sami Zayn, the other being Bryan and Big Cass, and now Roman, Jinder, Mahal. And there's really, none of these are really exciting. So that's such a shame, honestly, because I don't think you need a title for a match to be exciting. But I think the stories for all of these have been heavily flawed. Here, it's not really the story. It's basically the 2 competitors. You have no one to really back because Roman, he's not the sympathetic babyface that WWE wants him to be. So he's like the corporate. For me, he would be the perfect corporate heel. And then Jinder is someone that the fans don't get behind anyways. So I don't think the dynamics are perfectly correct. They could pull off a decent match. I really don't expect anything out of the match anyways.
Next, a match that could honestly go both ways. AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the WWE Championship. I had a little bit of trouble trying to predict this match. It could honestly go both ways. They've been good about keeping it a little bit unpredictable because I don't know who's going to win this one. I personally think it's going to be Shinsuke. He's been doing so well as a heel. I didn't know I wanted it until it happened. He's just been so entertaining, and the whole no speak English, and just I love him. I love the work that he's doing, and I feel like he finally deserves this championship. You actually thought that he was going to beat Jinder a few months ago
at SummerSlam.
But
it's finally time. They got to strike right now. Honestly, if they don't strike now, then what was the whole point of this feud? Listen, I'm actually a fan of this feud. I might be in the minority here, but I didn't have a problem with the finish at Backlash. I thought it was a decent finish. I know a lot of people wanted a more decisive finish, but it just kind of builds up the story that these guys really can't beat each other. AJ got one, but ever since then, Shinsuke obviously got that other victory on SmackDown. But here I feel like the matches are progressively also getting better. I feel like this one could be the best match they have, but I feel like they need to go with Shinsuke here. Listen, I love AJ Styles, one of the best guys on the company, but at the same time, they gotta go with Shinsuke. They've been building him up. He had that title match at SummerSlam. He won the Royal Rumble. He lost at Mania. So I feel like it would be a very dumb decision if they don't go with him. But after this match, they really need to pull off a great match because a lot of people right now are talking about New Japan and the matches they're putting on, especially at Dominion. Some classics we saw there. So this match, I think, needs to be a match that's given time.
So next we have Ronda Rousey in her second match in the WWE versus Nia Jax for the Raw Women's Championship. We have differing opinions on this one. I personally think that Nia Jax is going to win. Maybe not cleanly or kind of a BS finish because I feel like the title needs to kind of stay with Nia just for a little bit longer. I don't think that they want to put the title on Rousey right away. But you have a different opinion on that.
I agree they should keep it with Nia right now. Again, just to build up this story, because giving it to Ronda, I feel like that's just the coward's way out. We really don't, she just wins it on her first hurdle. But I do think they're going to go with Ronda. I mean, she's going to be inducted to the UFC Hall of Fame, and if she gets inducted as the WWE Women's Champion, that's a big deal. At the same time, I don't really see it going any other way. I feel like she's just gonna, tap out Nia. She's gonna be this whole dominating figure. She's gonna be the Brock Lesnar of your division. I feel like she's just gonna dominate and win the match. I feel like it could be a good match, because we saw how good of a showing Ronda had at WrestleMania. But this is one of the matches I think to be excited about. I don't think the story's been completely there because Nia's been flip-flopping from heel to face every week. So that's really kind of dumb. Ronda's not the best on the mic either, so it hasn't been the best story. But in terms of the match, it is something to get excited about because it is kind of unpredictable. But I do think they will go with Rousey winning the title.
So for the main event of the show, we have the men's Money in the Bank ladder match with Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, one of the New Day members, Samoa Joe, and The Miz. This match is less unpredictable than the women's one, but still they could go a few ways. We both personally think that The Miz is actually going to pick this one up, even though he actually got the briefcase last time on SmackDown, which, I don't know, WWE has a weird thing with giving the person who's not going to win a good showing on the go-home show. But I feel like he just makes the most sense. He deserves it after what he did to the IC title. He made it so much more relevant. And he's just such a great character and such a great heel that having a prop with him really would elevate that prop and it just would be extremely entertaining for the next year.
I think they could possibly go Braun, which I feel like would be the worst option because Braun doesn't need the Money in the Bank to win the Universal title. I feel like he should win clean against Brock, not in a BS way by cashing in his Money in the Bank briefcase. So I feel like that would be incorrect. I don't see any of the Raw guys winning it just because I feel like Brock just needs to lose in a convincing way because, you know, you've been building him up for so long that he needs to put somebody over and kind of pass the torch. It basically goes down to Miz and Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe, similar to Braun, doesn't really need the briefcase. He can just kind of do it on his own, especially he's on SmackDown, so he doesn't actually need to beat Brock. He'll just need to beat either Shinsuke or AJ or whoever the champion is. So I feel like The Miz is the most logical decision. But if I had to choose somebody other than The Miz, I feel like it would be Braun. But my money's going to be...
Yeah, I really hope that doesn't happen. Like you said, he needs to win in a convincing fashion.
So that's it for our Money in the Bank predictions. Tell us your predictions in the comment section below.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Rosie Wrestling, and I'll see you guys in our next video. Bye!